Here we have this incredible chance of kind of being in the center between East and West. We have a number of brands from US, from Europe, from Asia, from Russia. Now a lot of brands from Russia are opening in Dubai, right?
Wow.
This is something that you actually cannot see anywhere else. You know, the advantage of fashion is that across the globe, we really use it as a medium to express ourselves. I love that women go watch a movie in their Louboutin, you know.
Fashion isn't about just what we wear. It is about identity, storytelling, and the way in which brands connect with people. Our guest for today has been at the heart of that journey. She has an impressive portfolio that include names like Diesel, Guess, Ape, Fred Perry, Scotch and Soda, Pinko, and more. From brand positioning to localization, and from collaborations to fashion events, she has played a key role in making global brands feel local. Please welcome Maud Labro Grison to the Marketing Bytes. Hi, Maud. Thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Perfect. We'll talk a little bit about your journey. This is what I would like to start the conversation with, to get to know you a little bit more, understand your journey and your experiences. You know, we all have this light bulb moment in our lives. Was there a moment in yours, a little early on perhaps, where you said, this is why I chose fashion?
At the time, I was doing an internship, and I was studying accounting,
Yeah.
and I was working in the accounting of the company Benetton. It was the agency back in France,
Okay.
and you know, I was serving coffee and I was counting the turnover from the day before from the stores, and there was a showroom. And at the end of my internship, I graduated, and they offered me a job. They said, "Well, we would like you to be assistant accountant," and I told them no. I said, thank you so much, but I'm not interested in accounting at all. I want to be there. I want to be in the showroom. I want to work with the clothes and the
Yeah,
client and the
yeah.
stores. Yeah, I don't know. I fell in love with it.
So that was, I can clearly say that that was the spark that pushed you towards fashion. Or have you always been interested in fashion?
Always been interested. I even when I was studying and I was working part-time to pay for my study, I was working in the stores. I've always gone right away to the brand that I was really passionate about. I wouldn't apply to brands that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I was in the mall and I was distributing my CV to all these stores. And my favorite brand in France was Etam. It's the only one who said, "Oh, miss, you have a mistake on your CV. You forgot one digit on your phone number." So basically, I never got a call from any of the other brands because I made a mistake on my CV. I was 16 at the time. But Etam is the only one that actually did notice that the phone number was wrong, which was my favorite brand. And this is how I started.
Wow, this is amazing. So it was meant to happen, right?
was meant to
meant to
happen,
happen,
yeah.
absolutely. So what happened after ITIM? You basically moved to Dubai, the Middle East after that?
It was after Benetton. I moved to Dubai, yes. A former colleague of mine was working here in Al Sawani, and he wanted someone to support him to have a bit of a European perspective.
Yeah.
They also wanted a woman perspective because it was to head the accessories line. I didn't even know where Dubai was on the map. I literally had to open, well, an encyclopedia at the time, not even internet, right? And look, where is it? And I was like, oh, do I need to cover? Do I need to wear an abaya to come to Dubai? So they flew me in. I got an interview and I started as a product manager for Guess.
Right, perfect. Looking at your portfolio, which has some incredible brands in it, what part of your career gives you that spark, the one that says, this is why I do what I do?
I mean, I'm very lucky to work in a field that I'm really truly passionate about, to be honest. So I think pretty much every day I have this moment where I'm like, I can't wait to go to work,
That is amazing.
So, and I think not a lot of people can say that, Of course, there is moment up and down, but it's everything about what I do is amazing. I love the travel. I love because I always work with brand that I'm really truly passionate about or that I really feel inspired.
Yeah.
Every day is I have this
Every
spark.
day is a new story for you,
Every day is a
right?
new story, and there is no bad part of it. When we receive a new collection, for example, and we unpack it, it feels like Christmas. I'm just and I know it's a very manual work, but I want to be there. I want to unpack. I want to touch the product. I want to put it on a hanger. I want to see how it falls. I want to appreciate all of that. This is quite
Yes.
magical. And then
Amazing.
there is presenting it to the client and seeing their reaction and how they feel and how they interact with the brand and the product.
Yeah. You've worked across many different cultures and markets. Um, Beneath all of these regional differences, what do you think really unites fashion lovers everywhere?
So, first of all, yes, there is a difference. I mean, I'm covering 30 place country about, so obviously you do have different seasonalities, a big difference, for example, pricing, culture, religion, and so on. But I think, the advantage of fashion is that across the globe, we really use it as a medium to express ourselves. It's not just about covering to protect ourselves from the outside world, right?
It's that one language, that one common language that everybody
Yeah,
speaks.
we use it for an expression to, some people use it to really define who they are or it's almost like artistic,
Yeah.
they want to say something through their clothes. They want to represent themselves as I am a confident person, or I'm I don't know, I'm whatever it is that you want to
Yeah.
say, you can actually express it with your
Self
clothes.
expression as well,
Correct.
right? Perfect. Great. I'm going to move to another section of this conversation, mainly to do with brand positioning and collaborations. I think something that you've been doing from the start of your career. And I believe that you've worked in the Middle East and Europe. What makes positioning a brand in the Middle East fundamentally different? Is it to do more with changing or different consumer mindsets, or is the meaning something even deeper?
I think, here we have this incredible chance of kind of being in the center between East and West. And we have a number of brand absolutely incredible. So you have brand from US, from Europe, from Asia, from Russia. Now a lot of brands from Russia are opening in Dubai, right?
Wow, yeah.
And yeah, and this is something that you actually cannot see anywhere else. You go to Paris or London, you do not have as many brands as we have. We have brand from Australia. Um, and this is something I think fundamentally different, because for a brand to come here with this amount of competition, you really need to like take your game out of this pool of brands, right?
Yeah,
You really
yeah.
need to make it different. You need to provide something to the consumer that really excites them and make them come shop your brand. So I think this is what's really different. The other thing is that in comparison to a lot of the other part of the world is that it's quite new here,
Yeah.
and it's very monobrand driven. So it's really, people like to shop in a store that has the name of the brand, multi-brand or department store. We do have some very, very beautiful and qualitative one, but not as much as what you would find in Europe, in Asia, or in US. And these two factors, I think, makes it very different here when it comes to brand positioning and how you approach the market as a brand.
Right. I think the consumers here in the Middle East are also very, very brand conscious, right?
Correct.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
When you're looking at markets as diverse as the Middle East, Africa, CIS, or even Ukraine, how do you even begin to break down the audiences in a way that begins to make sense?
So you do have differences between the market. Seasonality is one of them, of course, and also yeah, the way they dress, I guess. But um, there is also some fundamental similarities between those markets,
Yeah.
and I think this is why actually they are clubbed under one hub in our businesses. Uh, the fact that people want elevation,
Yeah.
um, as you say, brand conscious,
Yeah. Yes.
The fact that it's also very a woman-driven market, so woman is a big consumer in the market. People love colors
Colors,
here,
yeah, yes.
while
It's
back
not
in
just black and white and gray
it's
anymore.
exactly
Yeah.
while back in Europe it might be a lot more subtle, I would
Yes.
say, and a lot more out there as well. Here, people are not afraid to really show off, and I love that. You know, I love that women go watch a movie in their Louboutin. You know,
Yeah. That's amazing. You'll only find that in this part of the world,
I,
don't
I
you?
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maud, you've been part of some really interesting brand collaborations. Can you just take us through some of those experiences?
um, there was a really good collaboration that really actually inspired me was Fred Perry and Outcome First, which is a
Okay.
London-based brand. Fred Perry tend to be very subtle and under the radar when it comes to marketing and collaboration as well. And Outcome First is also very much under the radar brand, but it really worked well together. And it was one of my favorite collaboration that I had the chance to be with.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that collaboration? Because it sounds very interesting, this very subtle brand and then again another subtle brand coming together. Can you take us through just one
So
experience in that?
they were using the bestseller of Fred Perry, which is the tipped polo
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah.
and Outcome First, which is really famous for all of his badges and all of his pins and all of this like personalization, would personalize each of the polos.
Right.
So it was in Sol DXB, and there was a booth where Sam Lambert, which is one of the founder of Outcome First, came, and he would personalize each of the polos. So we had all of these small artifacts branded Outcome First, and they would stitch it and they would pin it, and I still have the polo. Well, it's been I think 10 years ago, but I
Wow.
still have the polo, and it's still one of my favorite piece from my wardrobe,
Yeah.
and I really wear it proudly.
Do they have a store here? The art comes
Outcome
first?
First, no,
No.
but they do a lot of like collaboration, and they do maybe some capsule collections. So you might find them in, I'm assuming, Bloomingdale's, Harvey Nichols, this
So
kind of
it's a
stores.
very niche
Very
market.
niche,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
niche.
right. From your perspective, what makes some partnerships truly stand out and look meaningful?
Well, I think the word you say is spot on. Is meaningful. I think some of the collaboration are just about putting two logos next to each other,
Yeah.
and I think you really need to mean it. So finding brands that really make sense together, or on the contrary, two brands that are really yin and yang. But this is also what makes the perfect mix, right? Because
Yeah.
then you fuse to consumer base, you fuse to direction, to style. Um, I think rarity, exclusivity, anticipation as well is quite important when it comes to everything you surround with the collaboration. When you have a collaboration coming out and you have people queuing from 6 o'clock in the morning to get this, you want that. You want to create this mystery. You want to create this special moment
Yeah,
where
yeah.
people can't wait and queue and message each other. It's like, oh my God, this is coming out tomorrow. What time are you going?
Right. And I think it all boils down to what the consumers want in the end, your consumer demands,
Yeah.
right, at the end of it. When brands are choosing partners, especially in this part of the world, what's the one thing that you think gets overlooked and something that they really need to focus on?
So I think a lot of the focus is often put on does the partner has the financial capability of rolling out, expanding the brand across many locations and many countries, and do they have the relationship with real estate? But one of the point that I think is really important is the partner going to really look after your brand? Do they understand the brand? Not losing the essence of the brand. Of course, you can localize the brand. It's really important to localize the brand, but I think it's finding this really sweet spot of global image and local approach where you don't want to lose the essence of the brand. And I think unfortunately, often it's being a bit lost in translation.
Yeah.
And I really think it's important.
Right. So apart from all of the monetary part, it is also important to have the essence of the brand and
Correct.
to have that as being consistently used right from where the principle comes in and then into the local markets here as well.
Yes, you want someone that loves the brand. You want someone that, brands have cycles. A lot of the heritage brands have been here for 200 years or 50 years or 100 years. And they go from up and down. You have some brand that were almost dead or no more in the market, and then suddenly they're completely revived.
Yeah.
And you want partners that will go through with you through this up and down, that is not going to let you down because suddenly you're not the hottest on the market, right?
Absolutely.
And you want them to maintain this consistency in the market and in the timeline, because you don't want to change partner all the time, because then you need to reposition the brand every time. So I think it's really important to find a true partnership, not just someone that will open stores for you.
Is there any specific campaign that you have worked on that you would like to talk about, something that really exceeded your expectations?
Um, I didn't exactly worked on it, but I was part of it. uh, there was this Saudi local campaign, and they had used Hala Abdullah, who's a beauty influencer,
Yeah.
but she's also an activist for human right, for women's right.
Hmm.
And we had also a content creator, and there was also a model. And the campaign was really inspirational. It was, of course, about product, so the global approach of the brand was still there, but it was also about art. It was also about women's rights. She was talking in the background, and it was written in Arabic. What she was saying. Um, and it was really nice because Saudi recently really opened up, and it was nice to have. It was not just about a local campaign. It had a very powerful message behind it,
Right.
and I think it was beautiful because it was really respecting the Saudi message. And I think, talking really to the people that are there was so impactful. And I think I would like to see more of this in the
Absolutely.
region.
I think the influencers and content creation are the need of the market right now, and especially for a market like Saudi, where they are bringing more women up, they're helping them with their
Yes,
empowerment and all of that. I think it's really important for them to focus on things like that.
correct.
Let's move on to talking something about some of the experiences that you've had, especially to do with maybe fashion shows and in store pop ups. A very, very powerful tool, especially in this part of the world. It's more like they're like storytelling tools, right? Um, what actually makes an event format stand out here?
I think it's the same thing that how does a store stand out? So, there is many aspects of it. There is location. There is VM. I mean, I work in apparel. There is the staffing. There is the formats. There is, as you said, the storytelling. You
Yes.
need to be able to say something.
Yeah.
It's not just about having a pop-up with some product in it. You need to create an experience. People want to have something special. In this region, we don't have a lot of things to do in comparison to Europe or US. You can't just go fishing, by the pond or
Yeah.
this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So people do want to be part of this experience, but
Yeah.
but you need to give something to the people.
Yeah, and I think something that really interests them, which is probably not available here, take them out of what
Yes,
is around here and bring in that something that is not available here and then make them have that experience that is not
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Um, with all of the focus now being put on media and digital campaigns, do you still see all of these physical experiences having a significant weight here, especially where consumers are concerned?
Yes, I think here more than ever, actually. As I said, we don't have, I think our experience on the weekend or in the evening are limited compared to the rest of the world in many cases. And I think having experiences is really important for the people here. They want to be able to be part of something and do something else than just shopping. So some of the pop-up and event are actually not to sell product. They're really purely marketing and just getting to know the consumer. I think now, if you take, for example, Sol DXB, which is not just about selling product, it's also like a parties type thing. And now in Saudi Arabia, you have a lot of this event as well. If you go to this kind of event, you see people that do not shop in mall. You meet people that are they are a consumer, but you don't see them in the mall. So when do you get to speak to them? This is when you get to speak to them. This is when you get to collaborate with them. You meet artists, you meet musicians, you meet really people that make the culture of this region alive. And this is through this kind of event that you get to see them.
Right. It's actually about bringing people together, right?
Correct.
Instead of just having online presence everywhere and then having digital
Yeah.
campaigns everywhere else. So yeah, I think this is a very, very, very nice thing to have. I want to get to know a little bit about, how you work with global brands and then bring them into the local markets here and strike that balance. You've worked with some incredible brands. Just to name a few would be Guess, Benetton, Fred Perry, Scotch and Soda, Pinko, Diesel, Ape, and a lot more. From all of your experiences, what's that one key learning about consumer engagement or brand positioning that has stayed with you?
I think it's really about making sure that they work with people that know well the market. A lot of the brand that I've worked with sometimes had really a difficult time understanding what does it mean. Ramadan, they
Yeah.
think that Ramadan is it's all about modesty and it's all about religion, really, which is it is, of course, but it's also a celebration, and we do actually evening dresses. So, how to make them understand that, having the people that really can make them understand what does it mean to be a woman or a man in this region, and what do we wear and what do we celebrate and how do we live. They have this mindset they don't understand,
Yeah.
or they
Yeah.
have this perception of our region, which is very different from what it is to live here. I've been here for 20 years. I love it. I can't imagine living anywhere else. I've raised two girls here. I never felt more free than I'm here,
Right.
and I think it's very difficult for people outside to understand, and brands to
Yeah.
understand, and this is important for us to continue educating them on what does it mean uh, to live here, and to present the brands here.
Right. But amongst all of these experiences that you had with these brands, can you really identify one key learning that you can take home with you, something that you really learned along the way through all of your experiences?
I mean, there is so much. It's difficult to pinpoint one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You can maybe tell me a couple, something that has really stayed with you that you really want to carry home every night.
uh, it's difficult to answer. I want to keep it all. I had so many amazing experiences here.
Yeah,
You know, opening stores
yeah, yeah.
with the brand or with the local partners, because I work with sub franchisee. I had some funny experiences as well. I had
Right.
some really fun things happening. Um, yeah, and I think maybe it's all about meeting all of these people
I think
from.
it would be more like meeting global people because Dubai is a melting pot of so many
Correct.
different cultures,
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be to be able to work with different people and different cultures.
Yeah, this is something I'm sure. I think there is few other places in the world, but this open mindedness,
Yeah.
by dealing with people that come from all across the globe, that has very different culture, and everybody brings something to the table, and
Right.
it's incredible, the amount of things that you can use, to promote your brand.
Right. When we talk about brand positioning, especially to do with all of these brands that you worked for, do you have anything specific that you learned in that aspect? Something that you really value today, something that taught you a lot about this particular word, brand positioning?
Well, what's funny is that brand positioning here might mean something very different elsewhere in the world. So again, because we have so many brands here, where you see your brand maybe back in Europe when it's from, or back in US or in Asia, compared to where it sits here, can be different.
Yes.
It can be different because there is so many brands, but it also can be different because your local partner position it in a different way, and in some cases it position it very high.
Yes.
So I think finding the right partner to work with is really important to make sure that they position it the right way in the market,
Right.
compared to competition, but also compared to clientele expectation.
Global brands often come with very strong guidelines and like a defined DNA, but at the same time, the markets here have their own cultural codes. How do you go about, or rather, approach striking a balance between maintaining global brand identity and ensuring local relevance?
I think a lot of the brands have now come a long way when it comes to marrying these two aspects, especially when it comes to product. And I think because the buyers here are very much aware, they are able to kind of pick and choose, and brands tend to develop additional product that are more suitable for this region. When it comes to brand marketing, this is where I think there is still a little bit of work to do, a little bit of education to do for the global brand, to make them understand that it's okay to have additional shoots that are done that will be more useful for this region, that will respect the cultural code. And I think this is what this is all about. It's about respecting, the local need.
So, on the operational side, the success of retail, of any retail business, depends on factors like your pricing strategies, your market planning for new store launches, or even managing the expectations of your stakeholders. What from amongst all of these has been most challenging for you?
So pricing strategy is something that has evolved a lot in the past 10 years, especially because of e-com. Local e-com, as well as outside e-com that delivers to Dubai. So a lot of the brand had to really work on their price structure and making sure that they are still in the right brand positioning versus competitors and home country, but are also not overly priced that people will decide to shop online outside of the region. And at the same time, you also want to be able to be profitable because you have a lot of additional cost here that you might have in other region. So a very heavy work has been put into that. When it comes to marketing launch and how we launched the brand here, I think it's where it's a bit more challenging because the seasons are shorter here. It takes us more time to bring the product here, which means that meeting the global launch are sometimes difficult.
Yeah.
And we go on sale a little bit earlier as well. So we really have a shorter time really to maximize the sale. The other point is people here don't like to keep merchandise in the warehouse. First of all, because they get damaged because of the sun and the heat, but also people here, it's very hard for them to hold on to the stock. So when you work with multi-players, e-com, wholesale, franchise, retail, whatever, to tell them, no, you need to keep this. You can't launch it now, so we can have, a global launch. You can do that for very, very big event, but when you have to do this all year long, it becomes a little bit more difficult, I would
more
say.
challenging.
More
Right,
challenging,
right.
definitely.
So I think amongst all three of them, your market planning for your store launches and again the warehousing part seems to be the most challenging one for you, right?
Yes, correct.
Right. Coming to the people side of the retail business, which I think is also a very important factor, things like building a strong sales force, uh, imparting appropriate training to your frontline staff, or even ensuring that the customer experience stays consistent across all of your stores. So, how do you manage and align all of these teams?
Well, obviously, because we work with local partners, we don't do the hiring for the store staff. So we can really only um, participate or support when it comes to training. But definitely, I think hiring is a really important part, and we trust our local partners hire the right people for the brand. And again, it's about understanding the brand and the passion for the brand. We do provide training when it comes to product, and often our local partners do training about sales technique, for example. But I think there is something we haven't quite yet nailed is these people that have a very different background and culture have to represent brand that have a very, very different culture and a very different history. And how do we manage for them to understand, this history and this very different culture? And I think it's really about spending a lot of time showing them sometimes historical videos. We had this actually with one of the brand. We did show them historical videos of from 100 years ago, about people who was already wearing the brand, were already wearing the brand, to make them understand why this style was born out, because otherwise they wouldn't understand it, right?
You're literally starting from scratch to train them,
Yeah,
like how
yeah,
it
exactly.
started and where it is and where it is going to go
Yeah.
in the future.
But it's, yeah, and it's the same with the young generation. They don't know, they didn't live through that, or their parents didn't live through that. So we do need to explain to them why the button of women's are on one side and what the men of the bottom are
Yeah.
on the other side. We don't think about it when we dress in the morning,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it has an
It
history, it
has a
has a
history,
meaning, it has a
absolutely.
reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect. I want to know a little bit about the challenges that every retail brings with itself, retail business rather, and then the strategies that you use to navigate through them. Expanding into markets like Middle East, Africa, and CIS is never a straight road. Was there a time where you actually did something that turned one of these tough challenges into an opportunity for you?
Well, I was supposed to go to Cairo for a store opening. It was Guess at the time, and I was just flying in and out because it's like a 4 hours flight only. So fly in, just make sure that everything was in place for the opening, open and leave. When I reached there, the goods hadn't arrived yet,
Oh,
which there is always a little bit of
yeah,
customs delays, right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
happens. Um, and I was given the choice. It's like, well, just come back and then we'll let them do the work, or stay a little bit longer and wait for the goods to get cleared. We decided to stay and actually spend a lot of time in the market,
Yeah.
meeting with the local population, seeing the nightlife, seeing, how people live and which are the brands there out there, and also outside of the malls, because Cairo, it's not only about malls.
Yeah.
And this was fantastic because I really got to understand a lot better the culture there and the local population and how they shop and what they shop and who they are.
Right, right. Um, when you're entering a new market, it often comes down to, or rather boils down to, having a very good local partner. What do you look for in a partnership that tells you, this is exactly going to work for me?
Well, again, it comes down to hiring, first of
Yeah,
all, and having a very strong operational team.
yeah,
And making sure that the operation manager really leads the team as well as the store managers, but also give them the liberty to be creative. You're not only hiring people, you're hiring personalities, so you want this to shine through as well.
We've talked a lot about expansion, collaborations, partnerships, and even consumer behavior. One topic that is really being spoken about a lot during fashion conversations globally is that of sustainability. In your experience, is sustainability genuinely starting to influence the way in which buying decisions are made, and especially in this part of the region?
I think there is still a long way to go there, to be fully transparent. But I do think that with the younger generation that are really being um, sensibilized to that from school and from their parents,
Yeah.
we're getting there. But in the market at the moment, it's the concepts that have grown towards the sustainability, because there is few beautiful concepts that have opened related to sustainability. They are more niche and there are only few of them. But I think it starts from the top as well. I think the brands need to do the heavy lifting when it
Yeah.
comes to sustainability. fantastic brand for that. They really care deeply about sustainability, and they really work to make a change. And it's difficult, I think, especially at the moment where you have the pricing are rising so high.
Absolutely.
People unfortunately sometimes tend to put this kind of things on the side.
Yeah. Yes. It gets overlooked, right? Because,
It
you want
gets
to have your
overlooked.
right prices and
Correct.
obviously you
Yeah.
want to make bigger margins.
So
Right.
you need the brand to do it for the
Yeah,
consumer.
absolutely. Looking ahead, what really excites you about the way in which premium brands connect with customers or consumers?
Well, with the opening of Saudi market, the consumer, the population is extremely young in Saudi, but also in the GCC. I mean,
Yeah.
in Saudi, 50% of the population is under 25 years old. Um, so I'm really excited about how they're going to connect with the youth, with the new generation,
Yeah.
and how they're going to take this forward. This population has so much to say. There is a beautiful music scene. There is a lot of artists there is a lot of people that have a lot of things to say, and I think this is very exciting to see brands starting connecting with them.
Okay, before we close, let's move on to one of my favorite rounds, which is the rapid fire. You can just say the first thing that comes to your mind, yeah?
Okay,
Are we ready for it?
I think so.
Okay, super. Let's go for it. The first fashion show that left you speechless.
Jean-Paul Gaultier and the corset outfit.
Of course. Pop up or flagship store, which excites you more?
Flagships, because I want to see the full range of a brand.
Absolutely. A fashion leader or artist you would love to spend an hour with?
Matisse, if he was still alive.
Dubai's fashion scene in just one word.
Gold.
Of course. One fashion marketing trend you think is overhyped.
Limited edition.
If not fashion, what would you be doing?
I would be a chef.
A brand collaboration you thought was pure genius.
Louis Vuitton and Supreme.
One brand you're currently obsessed with.
Oh, I love Gani.
The most exciting part of Market Week.
Opening the boxes of the new collection.
Always. That was absolute fun, Maud. It's always great to see the intuitive side of all of our guests, and I just absolutely love interacting with them on this one. Maud, thank you so much for joining us today. All of your journey and insights have actually shown us just how much thought and strategy goes into making global brands resonate in this part of the world for us. But before we wrap, there's just one question I'd like to ask you. If someone is starting their career in the fashion industry here, what is that one piece of advice that you would like to give them?
Pick a brand or a product that really excites you, that you're passionate about. I think it's a world that is very difficult to succeed unless you're passionate about it.
Right. So we really can't wait to see how you continue to shape the future of fashion in this region. And thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And to everyone listening, keep pushing boundaries, keep asking questions, and see you on the next episode of the Marketing Bytes. Plug in, power up, and press play.